Friends, welcome back to my channel with a new video, and this time I'll be talking upon and deliberating upon a very hot topic in the present day scenario, especially the critical care, which will talk on the green and the sustainable ICU and the future about the same. And again, I have divided this into two short videos. This was a topic which I embarked during the GICS 2024, that is Global Intensive Care Symposium, in October 2024. So, without further ado, let us start with the topic. So, this is a famous quote which was postulated by the great Charles Darwin, and he said, "It is not the strongest or the most intelligent who survives, but the most adaptable to change." And I think this is relevant to every one of us in today's era, as to we need to adapt to the situation if we want to survive. So I think it is a very insightful quote, and which can be useful to all of us. Talking about the homeostasis, and which was postulated by the famous Claude Bernard, who was a French physiologist, and this is one of the very basic and important concept which all of us have learned during our physiology days. So the constancy of the internal environment is the condition for the free and the independent life, and this is what we need to remember if we actually just think about our internal environment. Now, the green ICU is based upon primarily four P's, starting with people, of course, the patients, the healthcare professionals, the family, and the society. Second is processes, which deals with achieving more with less, early detection and better healthcare. The planet, which we need to focus upon the three R's, that is reduce, recycle, and reuse, and we'll talk about a bit in coming slides. And of course, the products. So use less, use better, and use better products. So these are the four P's, or the four pillars of the which are responsible for the sustainable or the green ICU. And of course, we are shifting, or we should rather ideally shift towards a humanistic ICU, which deals with our touch, of course, with some compassion, sympathy, and empathy. So, what we do is we actually cure sometimes, we relieve often, but we comfort always. And this is what the humanistic ICU talks about. And this is the summary of the proposed ICU carbon footprints. And these are the audit components and their associated inputs and outputs. And when you look at it, it is mainly the three components, and starting with building the utilities and the infrastructure, that is heating, ventilation, the ACs, or we call it as HVAC system. And of course, the second component as a conglomeration of the important parameters and the constituents, like manufacturing pharmaceuticals, linens, the ICU equipments, instrument supplies, including the medical gases, portable ultrasound, defibrillators, medical dispensers, warming units, laryngoscopes, laryngeal mask airways, and dental burrs, and of course the nutrition. So these are on the right side, as you could see that these are the inputs for the same. and the outputs for these particular components. And of course, when we talk of green ICU, we need to have the proposed areas for external consultation related to sustainability initiatives. So, when you talk of energy conservation and the HVAC system, which is in the ICU and the hospital, which are generally the very high energy intensive and contributes significantly to the GHG emissions or the greenhouse gas emissions. So, what intervention can help this is to change to fluorescent and LED light, which will help reducing the GHG emissions and saving the cost as well. The second would be the temperature setting, and as you could see, the heating and the cooling systems, which could be centrally set at an optimal temperature for various parts of the building. The computers and the TVs, especially in the IT departments, can be put on the hibernation mode, which can left idle for the extended period of times whenever they are not in use. The ICU windows with a face out should be equipped with blinds and other shades that insulate from the heat. So we are talking about the threat of the global warming. The energy efficient procurement whenever possible to reduce the amount of plastics and resin in the ICUs which are being used, and of course the green spaces with a goal of zero GHG emissions. So these are probably very important components of the sustainability initiatives. And these are the three famous R's. The green team, which forms the green team structure, the recycle team, where there is a introduction of recycling stations, encouraging the accurate waste segregation and recycle materials in the form of papers, plastics, glass, metals, and fluid bags and non-sharps. The reduce team, the reduction of unnecessary use of supplies and equipment like gloves, linens, gowns, reduce the consumable waste like trolley supplies, streamline the prefabricated kits, switch from single use to reusable ones, and reduce the use of energy by utilizing sunlight, better ventilation, water conservation, and the refurbish and the repair whenever possible, and a rethink team which will review all the protocols. It will develop new processes and policies to empower recycle, education of the staff, which is very vital, and liaise with the senior management to coordinate institution-wide environmental sustainable initiatives. So when we have look at this 3R, of course we remember this very famous movie that RRR. But here we are not talking about 3 hours, probably we are talking about 10 hours, and the remaining hours would be reorder, reformulate, reduce, reuse, remanufacture, recycle, reevaluation from the energy perspective, redesign, renew, and reward. So I think it is all about how best we can aim or achieve the green ICU concept. And I was astonished to know the burden of this particular problem. And if you see, if the global healthcare sector were considered a country, it would be the fifth largest contributor to global greenhouse gas emissions. And in US, the greenhouse gas emission rose to 6% in the span of 8 years, and it was highest among the industrialized nations. The ICU beds per se generate more than 3 times the climate footprints of regular inpatient beds. And in US, the ICU for the septic shock has the same daily climate footprint as a one-way economic class flight for one passenger to travel from New York City to Mexico. So this is how even the financial impact, if you can compare, and use of one albuterol inhaler, which has a similar global warming effect to driving a passenger car up to 200 kilometers. So this is a huge impact and a burden. And when we talk about the dietary or the eating habits, where you could see that India is not bad, and I got it from one of the article which was published in Times of India somewhere in October 2024. And the worst is Argentina, as you could see that it tops the list, followed by Australia and then US. And you could see that India is way below these countries, and it will just need zero point 0.8 Earths to support the food production by 2050. So, this is not bad as far as India is concerned related to the food habits. So, in short, what are the proposed pathways for sustainable or green ICU? Where you have life cycle assessment of ICU, the products and the pathways. So, you have a inter-organization and the intra-organization pathways, which will form the strategic partnerships to create green ICU teams in the form of the 3R teams, the predominant being the recycle team, reduce team, and rethink team, which will actually create and implement the green bundles. And in turn, it will measure the outcomes in the form of goal settings, the measurements, the continuous adaptations and modification, and the knowledge sharing. So, which will definitely have the short term and the long term outcomes. So, this is an overview of a proposed pathway for the sustainable ICU. I think this is all for this video, and we'll meet in the next video, which is continuation of the same video. So goodbye from now. Take care. Bye bye.